Cheers.
On that note, cheers. Welcome.
Welcome.
We have a very special guest. It might be, if Trish didn't exist in our lives, would we be here today?
That's a great question.
Yes.
I mean,
Trish, who are you and how did we meet?
Well, I am a travel manager. We met at a very lovely breakfast spot.
Also,
Yoke.
quick pause because it is Women's Day
yes.
coming up soon. You are a travel director.
Yeah,
Aren't
don't
you?
undersell yourself.
Yeah.
You are a travel queen.
Okay, global travel queen.
It's so continue. So, 15 years ago.
Yes, we met at Yoke. Had a beautiful, lovely Sunday mornings of enjoying breakfast.
My favorite Trish saying.
Oh no.
And sometimes it wasn't Sunday. Sometimes it was Friday morning. You'd come in looking a little rough. And I would check in on you and I'd say, hey, Trish, how you doing? I was overserved last night.
Everybody tip your bartender.
I went to a work thing and I was overserved.
Yes.
I was like, oh.
Yeah. Trish never gets drunk. Trish gets overserved.
And we like to have guests on our Power Half Hours to just, burp, like rib them and burn them. It's a roast.
Because
It's a nice roast.
it's a nice roast.
Oh, 5.
Oh,
But because of you, Trish,
yes.
if it weren't for you, Rocio at William Blair would not have existed.
Absolutely.
And I would argue that we wouldn't be potentially where we are today because I wouldn't have gotten into catering through Michelle Wisbicki.
Right. Great woman.
Yes.
Yes.
And we wouldn't, I don't know. It would have been a different timeline.
Absolutely.
The multiverse would have diverged differently.
Yes.
Well, at that time, you were having a hard time finding a job, right?
It was 2009. All of us were having a hard time finding a job.
Right. Which worked in my favor.
But Rocio had to start as a contractor because
Right.
it wasn't, you weren't able to hire anyone and it was a
Exactly.
different world.
We're at 6 already.
Jeez. Okay.
So, because you've been in travel and have a wealth of experience, it's something that I don't know much about, but it fringes on events, and the stories and the war stories are there, right?
Right. Sure.
It's just a little different.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure. No, sitting down and thinking about this when Rocio asked me, to kind of go through, I was on vacation. So I was thinking, okay, vacation. Everybody thinks about travel and vacations and what does that all mean? And the tie-in is experiences. And we all create our own experiences if we're going on vacation ourselves.
Yep.
Because why do you go on a trip? Why do you want to get together with other people, see other cultures, understand what's out there?
Yeah.
Sorry, I need to.
So it's like the individual or the more individualistic version of event planning.
Yeah.
Like it's
Well-
still curating experiences for people with people.
Right. And in event planning, as we've had the front row seat of, could be a ski trip,
Yes.
could be racing cars on a, track.
Yeah. Could be, making pizzas.
Exactly.
Could be buying out the French Laundry.
Right. It could be all sorts of different
Could
things.
be a private jet, which is a very big crossover of travel, of
Right.
that experience.
Right.
Yeah.
But in order to really,
Have you been on a private jet?
yes,
Of course.
How many times?
3.
Rocio, have you been on a private jet?
No, not yet.
Oh, you must.
Call me the next time you come.
Just call my friend Taylor. Say, hey,
Yeah.
can you fly me from San Francisco to LA?
Oh, T-Swift.
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, Is it time?
Yep.
Sorry,
It's time.
I'm just,
Cheers.
yeah, cheers.
But I think you're absolutely right. Like the through line for travel experiences is you are still creating that experience.
Right.
That private jet experience is something that you will remember forever, right? The chartered tour that it was curated just for you is something that you will remember forever. But it's like what event planners do just in a like micro scale, but it's where every single detail matters.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, if you're not thinking about all of those little things, then the event will fall,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you need to put yourself into their position and say, okay, this is what we're trying to do, and then execute it as the highest level you can.
Yes.
So it's that personal approach, but it's time again.
It's always time.
Sorry.
Also, for those not in the room with us,
Yes.
it is a 70s power hour at this time.
Because
Trish was there when Nintendo was invented.
Trish, you mentioned a little bit ago your first flight ever was on what?
Pan Am.
Oh, I thought you were going to say with the Wright brothers.
This whole episode is just roasting Trish. Thanks for coming on.
Anytime. I was handwriting tickets back in the day.
Literally.
Red ink all over my arms.
Ah.
There's a lot of people who will understand this.
Yeah.
But I don't. Like, actually, like, why is it red ink? What, like...
So ticket stock were different layers. And
like carbon copy kind of stuff?
yeah, but it had this red, so when you wrote on it, it would bleed through to the next layers. And in the ticketing world, there was this, and there still is, debit memos, which technology has taken care of a lot of that. But if you didn't write exactly what the fare code was and everything that was going on perfectly, the agency got a debit memo, which meant that they had to pay the airline for their mistake.
Yep. So like back when penmanship really mattered.
Exactly. People don't understand that you actually had to write with a pen, and then it went through, and then as you peeled them apart to go into the different buckets that they needed to go to be
Literal
sent
buckets.
off. Yes.
Like, literally,
Yeah,
you would...
your outbox
File out.
was an
Yes.
outbox.
Yes, there was. Yes, there was. There was just not email going in and out.
Because technology is kind of a through line of what we talk about, like, I was actually just having this conversation with my dad. We were watching a little bit about the incident that happened with the Delta flight that tipped.
Okay.
But in this guy's breakdown, he was breaking down the why behind it, it was the near miss at Midway that happened.
Okay, yeah. That was the other
And
one.
it
It's been a lot lately.
broke into the calls that the tower was making and the lanes and the protocols and all of that goes into an airplane landing and taking off. And like, I was talking with my dad, I was like, there has to be a better way. But as illustrated by Southwest's big shutdown the other winter, like, the technology has advanced a little, but it hasn't come as far as the rest of the world when it comes to travel, right?
Well, actually, so the big problem is the funding that we've never made into the management of our airlines throughout the airspace.
So what you're saying is change management is a problem?
Yes.
People.
Well, it's the funding, so the government needs to fund it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The air traffic controllers
Or the
have a
billionaires that own
very
the airlines could also do it. You know?
But that's what
Because
Richard
that's-
Branson tried to do with Virgin, and he got like blacklisted from
right.
the EMEA because like he wasn't playing nicely with the others.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
But
So,
it's a more fundamental too. So you've got the people that work in the towers, the FAA, you know,
Mhm.
the air traffic controllers who have an extremely stressful job.
Yeah.
And they're having to deal with not just getting people landing and taking off, but they have to get people into the gates. So there's a whole thing on the ground as well.
Sure.
But then there's the actual flight paths that go on and what needs to go on. Oh, sorry.
No.
We need to do another one of these. That needs to be managed.
Yep.
And like the East Coast, there are certain paths that are very jam-packed. And one thing that I learned recently was that the military uses a certain spot, so the regular airlines can't. So now it's kind of like back away military, let's get the regular airlines to be able to use that space.
Mhm.
And that might cut down on some of the troubles that are going on up and down the East Coast.
And is it because
Again, I'm simplifying
Yeah.
all of this,
Yeah.
but
are we seeing, not to get too political, but we're all about pushing the lines on this podcast, let me tell you. No.
okay, I'm on a news blackout right now.
Yeah, but do we, like, knowing what you know of the travel industry, like, is it just more traffic and has this occurred? I feel like the coverage piece of this is heightening everyone's awareness, but
Correct.
I feel like behind the scenes, incidences happen.
Oh,
It's just-
incidences have happened forever. But yeah, I think social media and the 24-hour news cycle
Yeah,
constantly brings new things. I mean, I could
Right.
literally go down a rabbit hole and never get out and be like, oh my gosh, I'm never going on a plane or in a car or on a train or whatever again. But air travel is still the safest mode of travel.
Right.
yeah,
I hate to say
statistically
it's
speaking.
just- Yeah, now, for the people that have lost their lives, obviously that's you know,
Horrific.
horrific.
And-
Yeah, it's horrible, but we still have a pretty safe.
And way more likely to get in a car accident, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Or hit by a bus.
Oh yeah,
Um,
or any kind of vehicle
Yeah.
crossing the street.
Mm-hmm.
if you had to think in the height of your like travel,
Yes.
how many flights in a year do you think you like maxed out on?
I never. Well, this year I'm doing pretty well.
Congratulations.
And it's all been personal.
Even
yeah.
better.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know that it was really that much in a year. Probably twice a month would be
Okay.
When you were at peak.
peak.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you're more ground control, really.
Right. So it's important for me to be stationary and be able to manage the craziness out there for the people that are on the road
Yeah.
and are traveling like multiple times a week.
For those being ground control, my other
Yes.
curiosity is
Yes.
what hot tips do you have on statuses?
God help me.
Because we have a lot
Here,
of
I need a 4-second one for that. Yeah, right.
I'm sure we have a lot of listeners that are
Thank you.
frequent travelers,
Yes.
and they are constantly, I feel this, getting pulled into the script has changed, and what I had to do last year is no longer the case this year, and like the brand loyalty with an airline doesn't go as far as it used to go, and do I need to play the game and switch and convert my points and do all of this stuff?
And you're an individual traveler for the most part. Like, yes, it's a small business, so you're still a business traveler.
Right.
But like, you don't have the buying power of a big corporation. Like,
Yeah.
you are an individual. So like,
And for these independent event planners who are listening to this,
Yes.
it is very much like
Sometimes
one
they
of
get
the
their
perks
points.
that I get is those points belong to me.
Yeah,
Yeah. Exactly.
Versus the organization.
Exactly. And that's what you have to think about is what is important to me. So one, I follow the points guy
Mhm.
also.
The points guy.
Yeah.
On Instagram, on Twitter, where do we follow him?
Well, he sends me an email. But he's on all the socials
He's a
as well.
newsletter guy.
He's a newsletter guy.
Yeah, write him a letter.
In red ink. The roast.
Yeah. So he's got all But he goes into like what credit cards are worth it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, should you have an airline credit card or a hotel credit card? Does that really matter?
I love that.
Right?
Yes.
And it's such, your question is really packed with a lot of different things because we all find our favorites, right?
Mhm.
Like me personally, I've got 2 favorites when it comes to airlines. Oh, thank you
Don't
very
want to put you on
much.
the spot, but
I am not. So it depends on where I'm going, what I'm going to do. Now, because of all the changes, it is harder to earn your status
yeah.
and to be able to be out there managing things. But if you use all the tools that you can, like signing up for their bonuses, because every airline has that, right?
Yeah.
Understanding what basic economy is versus first class,
Yep.
So what
and
you're
all of
saying
everything
is you have to take a beat and actually read what you're buying.
Exactly.
What concept?
Well, and
Totally.
and what I've
Actually pay attention.
Yeah.
Just a little.
What I've learned through this process is like one of those upgrades goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? If you do every 4th flight, I'm gonna upgrade to first. Like that carries
Or-
with it. some
Or
perks.
you use your miles and dollars
Yep.
to buy into that.
Yes.
Yeah, the,
So-
the pool sharing.
Exactly.
I'm such a point hoarder.
Okay, but okay.
Or miles hoarder, you know, like
So this goes into another thing. Going back to the whole experience.
Yes.
Why are you hoarding them? Where are you going?
I know.
And who are you
I
going
know.
with?
I'm gonna hold on to these points, and they're gonna end up. I mean, some of them expire, right?
No, they don't.
Well,
Well, it depends on the airline.
The credit card or the airline or the like
Right.
whatever have you.
Depending on the airline, most airlines don't have an expiration date anymore. But the
Since
point is,
that was a COVID thing, right? Or was it before
Right.
that? Okay.
no, that was a COVID thing. There was a lot of good.
We don't need to go there.
No, we don't need to go there. But so it's what are you doing?
Yep.
Okay, stepping back from work life.
Yeah.
Because we also need to have work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
Which
And also, like, just to level set, managing the corporate program was Trish's baby for a huge chunk of your career.
right.
So you have the context of the difference between an individual traveler and like the buying power of a corporation and what you can
Right.
leverage on that perspective. So
Exactly.
that's hard to set aside. So we're going to set it aside.
Yeah. So now we have to look at your own account. Okay? You've got this chunk of miles that are sitting there. You've got all these hotel points that are sitting there. It's like you need to take a second and say, where am I going to go with those?
Yeah.
And who am I going to take with me?
Mm-hmm.
That touches on
And
an
what
interesting point.
what really fun thing
Yeah.
am I going to do because I need to rejuvenate myself with a holiday?
And you've put in the time, one way, shape, or
Right.
form. You've done the thing to get the points, and this is me saying this to me. Like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do with it? You know, like.
Yeah. Yes. No, it's true. It's I think we all have to sit back and do that.
Mm-hmm.
And in this last year and a half, I've done a lot of that, and I've been able to go and see family
Yeah.
and enjoy some pretty great experiences with my husband. And it's been fantastic
Yeah.
to be able to have that freedom to say, okay, what am I doing now? You know, what is this next stage?
And just like the balance in your bank account, right? Like, what is that threshold? Might be a good way to think about that. Like, I want to hold on to 150,000 points
Well, and it's
Right.
different for everybody.
for
so
Right.
like for a rainy day,
Right.
you know. And then anything above and beyond that, like, let's use it intentionally. Use it.
yes.
Right.
And like I've always used my points for like family and other people.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, this past year and a half is the first time I started to use those for myself.
Exactly.
But I look at it like it's free money.
Mhm.
I have earned it. To your point, I've put in the work. I get up to 100,000, 200,000 miles, and it's like I could go to Fiji, by myself,
Right.
or I could go to New York and take my brother, sister, and the kids, and then like all they have to think about is the meals when we get there.
Right.
So it's just another form of currency if you like think about it that way.
Yeah.
It goes back to how you want to spend your time and your money. Period.
And why do we all work?
Right.
Exactly.
Well, this is an interesting question for the two of you, coming from your world. We don't have to name names. We don't have to name policies. I'm curious to know what is the business ethics conversation that goes behind.
You said we weren't going to talk about politics.
Behind you are the lead planner on this program, and you can put your point number in that line item.
Well,
and different corporations have different policies,
and, you know,
there are different standards.
and that's right. And there's plenty of administrative assistants out there that put their number down, and that's the way it is.
Yep.
But it does go into policy.
Yes.
Um,
At the end of the day, it is the decision of the company, right?
Right.
Like the company is the one paying for that flight.
right.
The individual, yes, is traveling. They're traveling because of the business. So corporate responsibility.
Trish just had an oops. her cup runneth over.
Oh, you're gonna have to take a little. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But like, I think
Right.
the entire United States, like Western culture in general, struggles with entitlement. That's an understatement. But like, it's interesting how that plays out in corporations, because like you have the corporation that is like, well, the corporation is entitled to all of those miles, and then you have the individual that says, it's my time, I'm entitled to those miles, and like, there's no right answer.
Yeah.
Well, and then you go across borders
Mm-hmm.
outside of the U.S.
Right, if you have an international company.
They don't care as much.
Yeah.
It's usually when the U.S. people go to the offices outside of the U.S. that then the other offices are like, wait a minute, why don't I get those points?
Mhm.
Why don't I have those perks? Why don't I have the credit card that gives me this or that or
Yeah.
whatever?
It's like,
Well, also a fair statement that like vacation is a thing outside of the United
Correct.
States.
Yeah, like August is a vacation time in Europe. So yeah, I embrace that to my core these days.
oh yay, good for you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I was between sips. But yeah, always something that like I see from a perspective, and it for the employee, no matter if you are allowed to do it or you're not allowed to do it, there feels like there's this like unspoken
Correct.
pact.
But I
around.
think and that comes down to corporate culture.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got a corporate culture, tongue twister, that is really super strict, you're not going to waver from that.
Mhm.
Right.
But if you've got a corporate culture that's kind of like, it's gray, why not?
Yep.
And you know what? Bully for them. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it, and I don't have a problem with it.
What's
it's-
shitty is when your boss takes all of your points
Yeah.
and micromanages all of your points and says like, you're leaving. All I care about is where all of the points that you've accrued for the last 15 years.
Also,
so that
just
I
find
can
out that
make sure.
Rocio did report to Trish, and she's not calling Trish out right now.
I'm like, no! What boss are you talking about? I'm like, I never did that.
It wasn't Trish.
I never did that. I never did that.
No, you did not. No, in fact, actually, I think the first time Greg saw the ocean, right, West Coast Ocean, was that trip that you sent me on to California.
Yeah.
Yeah, so back to points and paying it forward. Literally, the first time I got to see LA was just because you had points and said, like, this makes business sense. It was a business decision.
Yeah,
because we had so much work out there. No one
we
wanted to
did
pay for
like
me to go out
5
there.
cents.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I joined you.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would not have happened had you not paid it forward. You did not. That was your money essentially that you gifted so the business could benefit, and so that Gregory and I could benefit.
Yep.
Well, but, you know, that's what those corporate points are for.
Right, you were using
Is
it
to be
in the
able
right
to
way.
use it for business purposes, to travel, to be able to extend the relationships or whatever it is
Yes,
with the
relationship management.
correct.
Again, a huge like core theme in hospitality, event planning, and travel that like is just getting decimated right now.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and going back politically,
No, please.
so government travel is pretty much shut down,
Sure.
right? So the travel management company that handles a lot of the government travel is going to be hit pretty hard
Mm.
because it's a trickle down effect, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about individual things or maybe a corporate thing.
And that's
But-
also like trains, planes, and automobiles. It's not
Yeah.
just planes, right?
Right.
Like
Exactly.
to get
So-
to here to Springfield, you take the Amtrak.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and when you're in the travel world, you're using a travel management company.
Mm-hmm.
And that travel management company makes their living off of fees.
Yes.
Mhm.
And when you're on the Amtrak, you're eating the food and you're ordering the drinks.
Yeah. I mean, very,
So,
very timely insight
yeah,
to just again take a beat and think about
right.
the impacts of some of these decisions and the industries that are destabilized because of it, right?
Exactly. I mean, we're early days, but hopefully things pop back.
Yeah.
But I look at all of the different providers. I look at the TMCs. I look at the airlines, cars, hotels, trains. You know, everyone. And the TMCs, the people that are actually making the reservations. But then you've also got the IT people in the background.
Yep.
You've got the account managers that are helping out. You've got, you know, all of that, the reporting and everything that goes into it. It's a complicated
Oh yeah.
mess.
It's an ecosystem.
Right.
Switching gears slightly,
Yes.
when we have a like Miranda Priestley, Devil Wears Prada,
Yes.
what
C-suite executive.
what is realistic on pulling something out of the back pocket of travel
Mhm.
when they need to get from point A to point B? Now, Rosie and I just got to experience and have experienced, you know, executive care
Yes.
Yes,
my
is
first
the new
time.
terminology.
Oh.
It used to be
How did you feel?
VIP, but executive care is more inclusive.
Right.
And these are our C-suite executives who are coming in, and generally speaking, there's a dedicated private, right? And
Right.
they have pretty good autonomy. It might not be just one C-suite who is in there. They might have to buddy up from time to time.
Heaven
Right.
forbid they have
Yep.
to share an SUV.
No, a plane. They don't share SUVs. No. How dare you? But like, what if weather is bad?
Yes.
Is it true or is it false that you can find a way if you know the right
It's
people?
so false because you don't want anyone going in a weather situation when it's dangerous out.
Yep.
But the airlines have figured out, again, going back to like preferences and things, there are, like in LA or London or wherever, they have special VIP lounges that you can go through. So you can purchase your access to those lounges.
Mm-hmm.
And that will give you a private place to be able to hang out, and then you have a private car that takes you to your airplane, and then you walk into the plane in a different way. So you're not dealing with the general public when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of perks that come with a VIP.
So
Like there's some people think they're a VIP, and then there's a VIP.
So,
Yeah, the
can, so can we
actuals.
call in the National Guard to get you home? No.
No,
But there are a lot of other things that we can do to make you very, very comfortable.
correct.
Yep.
Correct.
And obviously that comes with a price point, but is there also like brand loyalty with that? Like I only fly into this executive airport because they know me and they know
Well,
my pilots,
potentially-
and they know.
Or
They
because
potentially-
Trish has been in the industry forever and ever and ever, and she's able to make enough phone calls to get you into that one lounge.
Right. That's another option. But it's usually your home base.
Got it.
Where, like, let's say you live in the LA area, you're only going to go to LAX. You're not going to go to any other airport around there, right? And you know that your driver's going to be taking you to this other location to check in for your flight.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, the world beyond first class, right?
The
Is-
world's beyond first class. Yeah.
but don't we all dream of that?
Do we? I don't know.
I don't know.
Have I
every once
wondered
in a
what
while,
is behind
yes.
the Polaris doors? From time to
Oh,
time.
come on. You're getting into Polaris.
No,
No,
I've never
he
been.
hasn't. No, okay. You don't realize the level. Like, this is a big thing that I've learned in the last year. Like, I'm coming up on my anniversary of like being out of corporate, and there are things that I say shit like that, and I am like, oh, I have to check my privilege. Like, I did not.
No, yes. It's nice.
But I'm also like, we are of the events world. So like,
Right.
I've a hotel suite for me is never
Right.
nice enough.
You have seen
like,
every
yeah.
presidential on the face.
Okay,
of
And-
it.
and
and-
I don't stay in presidential suites.
Well, we don't
I-
either, but we see all of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
But it's
I
that
thought
same.
Yeah.
No, wait, I don't stay in it, but like. I know what the rooms look like. I know
But-
what the amenities
but
are. I know.
are you-
I know what the temperature
are
could be
you
set to.
a
Like.
Hotel snob.
And no, like I will
See,
stay
I
at a
am.
Red Roof Inn.
Well,
like,
no,
I don't-
no.
like-
I mean a hotel snob by things have to be clean. Things have to be, it could be a red roof, but if things are not clean,
Yeah, my line is drawn if my feet are hanging off the bed. Like,
Right.
That's the only line I really have.
Yeah.
Like, I will.
no, I have a cleanliness.
I'll
thing.
sleep on top of the sheets, or on top of the
Yeah,
comforter,
I have a
like
hard
if I
time.
have to.
I have
But
a hard time.
but and
I'm
that's
paying a certain amount of money,
Yeah.
even if it's not $50 usually, because you can't find a hotel
Yeah.
for $50 anymore,
yeah.
right? Hotels that are 3-star hotels are $250 a night.
right.
For $250 a night, I want a clean room.
Yeah.
I don't need all the zing. I need a clean room.
But I feel like behind those
And
poli-
zing is
know.
spa, room service,
It's a very technical term.
24-hour room service.
24-hour room service. Yes.
But it is probably the same for the lounges, right?
You're
like,
falling back.
oh, so
What
sorry.
kind of lounge are you looking for?
Yeah,
And it goes back to your original question, like what is important to you?
Yep.
Right.
And I think like the Amex lounge is probably one of the nicer lounges that exists for the general public. And I'm sorry, but any United lounge that I've been into is like
Well, that's because you haven't been in the Polaris lounge.
pales in comparison.
Okay.
You can sponsor us.
Yeah, it's Polaris.
Or there's the Delta Lounge.
Well, and I missed the mark because when I opened my Amex, I committed to United instead of Delta.
Well,
Because we're in
but
Chicago.
you're in
we're
Chicago,
the hub.
so
But
yeah.
like all of the perks until recently, and Amex sat with Delta instead of United.
Okay. Well, but they changed a lot. That's another thing that changed
Yeah.
a lot. So, yeah. But again, a lounge is a place to go and
Mm-hmm.
calm down.
I love a lounge.
Take a breath.
Have
being
a glass
able
of wine.
Have a glass of wine.
Or a
Be able to
cappuccino.
leave your bags so you can go to the bathroom
Yeah.
without somebody stealing them.
In a private stall bathroom. Thank
Correct.
goodness.
Yeah.
Or if you need a shower or something like
Yeah.
that.
Right. Wash your face. Like get your shit together.
Exactly. So people, although these lounges have become amazing, that's what they are for. And when you're in Europe, the lounges is exactly that. You
Mhm.
go to the lounge, you hang out until your flight is ready to board, and then off you go.
Yeah.
In the U.S., it's become
An experience.
an
A-
experience,
like a
of length,
pre-experience.
because that's what we do.
That is
Yep,
what we do.
yep.
Yeah.
We're
agree.
good at experiences.
Are we?
I'm trying to wrap it back to the whole meetings.
United States. Yeah. But okay,
No.
coming up on
I agree. tried to bookend her episode, and we said nah.
No, I know. I was. There we go. You need a pour.
Oh. So, ma'am.
You're really falling behind. You know that.
I'm just
He's a
pacing
parent.
it. So
Lightweight.
nah.
No, he's not.
With everything that's going on in the world, with your experience, with everything that you've experienced through your tenure of travel management.
Yeah, let's really quickly, I want to put like some bookmarks here.
Starting with Pan Am.
Starting with Pan Am. Like,
Yes.
one of the first commercial, like literally the first time in human history where anybody could save up their pennies and get on an airplane and go somewhere. Like that's
We were dressed up.
right.
Yeah.
There was
Amazing.
no wearing pajamas.
Right.
And to this day, it drives me
I'm with
absolutely
you.
out of my mind when I
Yeah.
see pajamas and pillows and blankies coming to the airport.
It's just so. I agree.
If you're a baby, it's one thing.
Yeah.
If you're out of babyhood,
Babies are fine.
babies are
We'll let it
great.
ride. But
Yeah.
if you're 4, you gotta be wearing a seersucker suit.
Exactly, with a bow tie. No, really. It took years for me when we were in our teens flying to see friends in California to actually wear, like,
Yeah.
I would not even think about jeans or shorts.
Right.
But so it was the same thing in entertainment and like the opera and driving cars, right?
Right.
Like the same thing happened with automobiles. Like there was this whole like, oh my god, you're a
Am I
driver.
really that old?
No.
But it's not in that
It's
perspective.
It's the
It's
speed
like
of human evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like back to what we were saying before about millennials living through the transition, like you also were at the beginnings part of the spike.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Trish has been the first guest that is like watching the clock.
I know.
I'm getting.
She's like ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, you started at the literal very beginning, and then you watched the internet take everything by storm.
Well, it was going from that to electronic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Word processors.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, it's like, what do you mean? I'm not going to have a ticket. I'm going to the airport.
You're
It's
talking
gotta
about the
be-
consumer perspective,
Correct.
right?
Right.
Yeah, so consumers all of a sudden are losing their shit because like they're
Yeah.
not getting a ticket.
Correct.
So you had to live through that.
Right.
And now,
And now it's like normal to say, why don't you have an app
Mhm.
that has all of this power
Yep.
that allows you to get through, like, okay, we'll focus on United. Great app. Love the app. It can get
you
you.
can sponsor us.
Yeah. I would
It can
take
get
that.
you all the way through the airport. Like,
Yeah.
where you let off, where you go through, how you get to your gate is all there.
Yep.
It's lovely.
And
They've done a great job.
and the TSA pre-check with the Face ID
Oh,
is the quickest line in O'Hare.
I know. I love that. The first time I did that, I was like, this is amazing.
Even
Yeah.
quicker than Clear.
It is.
Yep.
And sorry, Claire.
No,
But
Clear is
I
good.
stopped
It's
my
fine.
It did.
membership because
It's an
there was
Amex.
not-
It's an Amex perk, so
Yeah.
yeah. Well, no. I mean, if it's perks, great.
Yeah.
But who's gonna pay for it?
yeah. But that Face
Cut
ID.
that part.
People with people don't realize that the Face ID is like just a quick process on the United app to
Right.
like up your TSA
Well,
to that.
And
Well, they're gonna steal my face.
Yeah.
I don't want my face out there in the
No.
interwebs.
In those webs.
What are they gonna
so the one
Elon's
change
gonna
that
steal
they
my name.
made recently,
Yes, your face.
United is doing, is that before you had to have, if I had my husband on my same PNR, passenger name record,
for those listening who don't know.
if I had the okay for the Face ID, he couldn't go.
Mm.
This time, he was given a little notice
Oh.
saying, please put your information in here, okay it, la 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 la. We both went through the Face ID.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great. It is.
Technology positive. It's working.
Exactly. No, when technology works, it's brilliant. And then other people look at you in line like, what are you doing in that line?
It's
And
kind of one
what
of the
did you-
sweet pleasures of the world in the airport for me. It's like,
Yeah.
bless you poor people. Like,
Well,
And poor doesn't have anything to do with income.
oh no, like just
it's,
like
you like
you
your
haven't figured it
information.
out.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
why haven't you listened to all of the, information, or when you check in, because literally, you guys know my husband. He's older than I am.
Shout out, we love Mike.
Michael, listen to this. We love you.
We love you.
But, for him to follow that and to go through it, it's great. So yeah, anyone can do it.
Yeah.
Is what I mean. Sorry, Mike.
Yep. We started on this timeline and then we took a hard left turn into
Exactly.
pre-check.
Well, the topic was travel, so it's not shocking that that's where we got.
Yeah.
I think we're
But you've experienced a lot of the evolution. In a closing thought, what, just like events, what do you think is the sustaining factor of travel? It's not gonna go away.
No.
Just like events, we've lived through enough
right.
of turmoil
Yeah.
in
Yes.
the past
Right,
20 years.
Travel lived through 9/11.
Yep.
Right.
Events
SARS,
lived through the pandemic.
MERS,
COVID.
COVID.
Right.
Yep. What makes it sustaining? Back to your experience point.
It's the experience
Yeah.
point. It's that people need that connection. So we are all about connections. So be it a business traveler doing one-off or meetings, you're getting people together to be able to have those face-to-face interactions. Yes, technology is great. Teams, Zoom, whatever you want to use is great, but there is nothing like sitting in the same room, touching each other, and being able to say, okay, this is what we need to work through.
And I would add to that by saying, especially if there's an ocean between you.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
I have not done enough international travel where there is very much the novelty still that
Right.
like this is going to be my second time over the Atlantic Ocean at the end of March. And
Crazy.
there's so much world left to see.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it is for a business purpose and you are going to go and meet that human and see them face to face, it's that much more special because you've made it there and you get to see where that person lives and interacts with people and the bar they drink in and whatever have you, restaurants they eat at.
Because again, for the first time in human history, getting to see somebody at the literal other side of the world is accessible and easy.
Right.
It's mind blowing, and we forget that.
Yeah.
Right. And I always bring it back to what does a child think? They get on a plane and 2 hours later they get off a plane and they're in a completely different environment.
Yep.
We are the same way as adults.
Yeah.
Or we should be
Yeah.
the same way as adults, where we get on a plane, we go across the ocean. Like every time I have taken a flight across multiple time zones or an ocean
We're time
or whatever.
traveling.
Right.
Yep.
I get off and I'm in amazement.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't take it for granted. I think that everyone should just embrace it and say, this is what's normal. I mean, in order to get to that better place, we have to experience those other cultures and those other people.
Yeah.
And some of my favorite people are sitting across the ocean.
Yep. And it's completely doable. And it's not
Yeah.
that different now that we have technology as the through line.
Yep. Right.
It's you download the app, you get in your Uber the same way. It
Right.
might not be called Uber when
Right.
you're leaving Munich,
Right.
but it still exists.
Or it might be called Uber when you're getting out in Munich.
Yeah. But either
Yeah.
way, like you're still doing the same steps.
Yeah.
And guess what? Like the majority of the people speak English.
Yes.
Because they've
But
adapted to
even
our
if you don't
idiot.
speak the language, there's still a common way of communicating.
And back to the appreciation factor, like what we're talking about is still something that is actually only accessible to 5% of the world.
Yeah.
And we exist in that 5% of the world, even at like the middle, like lower middle class of the United States. Like
Right.
it's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
We don't recognize that enough.
To me, the big takeaway of this episode: spend your points.
Spend your just fucking spend them.
No. Experience life to its fullest and enjoy every minute
Yeah.
out there.
And
Pure Michigan. Sponsor us.